Hello everyone, and welcome to the complete overview for the Hide and Seek plugin for Cinema 4D. I'm AJ Haynes, the plugin developer, and I've teamed up with my buddy Jorn at the Pixel Lab again to bring you another exciting plugin, this time focusing heavily on speeding up your everyday workflow. As the name implies, the plugin lets you hide and, more importantly, find anything in your scene incredibly fast. We've worked hard to make sure this is as simple and easy to use as possible, while packing as many features in as we can. So let's get right into it. Here I have this scene where I've modeled this BMX bike, a fairly detailed model with quite a few objects. So let's see how the plugin can help our workflow. The icon looks like this. It's a little magnifying glass with a little box in it. Go ahead and click that to open up the dialog box. I try to keep the layout as compact as possible to be able to just stay up while you're working. So at the top here you'll see you have two different types of searching. You can search object types or object names, or an exact name of an object. And then the search bar, where you'll enter in any Cinema 4D objects or names that you want to search for. And your search can be as broad or specific as you'd like it to be. Just with this scene, a lot of these objects are built with splines, so let's just go ahead and find the splines in the scene by simply typing splines in the search box. And you'll see here in the message box down below, you'll see it gives us a little bit of information about what we're searching for, and it says it found 115 splines throughout the scene. That's every single type of spline. We searched very broadly with that, and it included primitive splines, editable splines, on all of that. So let's go ahead and solo those to get a better look at them. So these are all the splines in our scenes, and we can go ahead and work with those very easily and quickly by soloing. And we could manipulate those as we want, and then just hit solo again to unsolo. Let's say we wanted to just narrow down our search and just grab editable splines. We can just go ahead and type in editable, and you'll see no longer selects those primitive splines. It will only select splines that have been converted to be editable. So some of these splines have red X's, meaning they're inactive or disabled, which probably means we aren't working with them. So if we want to narrow down our search to just those splines that are enabled, we can type enabled editable splines and get only those. We can go ahead and solo that, and you can see they're all splines with the green check mark. And you'll see it brings into the hierarchy when you solo. If you want it to just be the objects that you've selected and not the hierarchy, you can hold Alt or Control when you hit solo, and you'll see it's only the splines now. Another way to search would be you can search by visible or invisible. So that meaning if you have the red traffic lights on any object or the green traffic lights, or just if the object is visible, it will find them if you just go ahead and type that in there instead. And it will find pretty much all the same ones because they were all visible before. So let's see another example of narrowing down our search. Let's just find the lights in our scene and say we wanted to tweak some lighting. Say we want just those area lights, and they were kind of scattered around. We just type area lights, and we get only the area lights in the scene, and then we can go ahead and tweak those if we want to. And same extra keywords work for that. If you typed in enabled or disabled or visible or hidden, you could find those too. Another thing you can search for are tags. So let's say we wanted to work with the frame on the bike here and just work with the Phong tag on the frame. So we can go to our name mode here and type in frame and go ahead and solo, and you'll see that we do have our frame selected, and everything in this hierarchy is dealing with our frame. So with that frame null selected, the top parent there, we can type hierarchy, so that makes it so we can only search in that hierarchy. So if we go back to type here and type Phong tag, and any tag you search for has to end in tag, just so it definitely knows what you're searching for. So Phong tag in that hierarchy, hit search, and you'll see we have them all selected here. And if sometimes it goes blank over here in the attribute manager, that's just a weird limitation of Cinema 4D. If that happens, you can either just deselect one of the tags and reselect, and you'll have them all selected, so you can modify all of them at one time. So you see, if we just start cranking it down, we start modifying the Phong tag on the frame there. I want to leave it at 90, so we'll just leave it there for now. Now the scene is a little bit cluttered, so let's see how we can just clean it up a little bit very quickly. One special keyword that you can search for is the active camera, which will get you only the camera that you're working with in your scene. Type in active camera and it will bring you right to the camera that you have with the white little crosshair. So then you can come down to this other section here called hide, and you can switch it to unselected, which will, if you click hide, will hide all of the unselected cameras, because right now we have our main camera selected. So just hit hide and we'll be left with just our active camera. And obviously this will work with any object. It's by default is directly linked to whatever you're searching in for here, so you can easily isolate groups or isolate objects based on what you're searching for. So if we wanted to bring back those cameras, we can just type in cameras, show all, and we'll bring them back. We can hide all selected if we want, which would just be our main camera, show it, or hide unselected. One more quick example of that is, say we were working with our deformers here. It's kind of cluttered up. Let's say we just want to work with this FFD deformer here. We can type in deformers and hide unselected, and we'll just be left with the deformer that we're working with. And then if you want to bring them all back, just hit all, show all, and they will be back. Rather than hunting them all down inside of the object manager and trying to traffic light them. One thing I wanted to jump back and touch on really quick is that if you're not sure what an object type name is, if you're not sure what the object is called, you can always select an object and hit Control Search, and it will load that object type right up there for you, and you won't have to type anything, and it will even do the search for you. And that works with tags too. You can select, say, this texture tag and hit search, and it's going to find all the texture tags. Phong tag. You just need to make sure it's either the first object in your selection or the only object. So if I select this group of objects, the first object selected was this null. So if I hit Control Search, it's going to find all the nulls. And you got to be careful too, because if you select objects and sometimes you select tags, it'll keep those objects selected. So that's just a Cinema 4D thing, so it's actually going to find a light, I believe, if I hit Control. Yep. So just make sure you deselect everything and only select the object that you're looking for. UV tags, Espresso tag. So if you're ever confused on what an object is called, or your search isn't working for whatever reason, or you can't find whatever object you're looking for, just find a similar object and Control-click search, and it'll load it right up for you. Let's see how another way to isolate some objects that we're working with. If we just go to the name section here, let's say we just want to find the wheel. Hit wheel, hit enter, and solo, and we can go ahead and start working with our wheels. And of course, this scene's sped up a lot since we're hiding all the objects that we're not working with. Doesn't have to calculate those. Hit solo again. We can, we searched frame already. We can type in bars. Just work at the handlebars. Just hit solo again to unsolo cables. Whoops. I don't know if I typed that. Cables. Right now they're just spline setups. Fork maybe. Just a really easy way to just start working with stuff. So let's say you were in here and you were selecting stuff and you wanted to find it really quick in your hierarchy. You can just select an object. Say I want to select this tube here. I don't have it, I can't see it selected over here in the object manager, so I can just hit Alt Search to bring me right to it. And then I can start manipulating those splines if I want to. So with the name type selected, another little trick we can use is, so if we type wheel again, you'll see we get 13, let me go back and just solo those. We get 13 items selected that are all named wheel. And all of those have wheel inside of the name. It doesn't have to just be named wheel. There's only actually one object named only wheel. So if we did want, say, just that object to begin with, you could put your search in quotes and it will only look for objects named exactly what you have in quotes there. So if we solo that, actually there were 2 objects that were named wheel, so we'll only find those objects. Let's just do a little search for cloners in the scene. It has 23 cloners, so it brought us to the first one. You can use these arrow keys to cycle through your selections. So if you hit the next one, it will bring you to the next cloner in the object hierarchy, and then the next one and the next one, just so it makes it really easy to find rather than trying to navigate all the way through this messy object manager. And it will actually also tell you the name of your object here in the plugin, so if you happen to know the name, you don't even have to look over here. You can just see, oh, object number 3, that's the one I wanted. So you have the right one selected already. Next we have the delete tags button, and that's just another weird limitation of Cinema 4D. Let's say, again, let's search for actually the UV tags. Found 77 UV tags. Say we wanted to delete those. If we go ahead and hit the delete key, it will not delete by default. So I include this little button just to make it easy to do that. It's some weird limitation that I wasn't able to work around, so I just made a button for it. But what's interesting is with that the delete keys button, if we turn hierarchy on, let's just say we make a loose selection of tags here. If I hit delete key with UV tags typed in here, I can delete, based on that selection, I can delete only the UV tags. If we undo that real quick, just do that again. So I have this loose selection of tags, hit delete, and it will only delete those UV tags in that selection. One last thing I want to cover on that top seek section up there is with the search button there. If you want to add something to your search, let's say I do want to select I want to select sweep objects. But let's say before I did that, I had this group selected. So if I hit search, it will deselect everything and only select the sweep objects. But if I want to keep my selection, I just hold shift when I search, and it will add the sweep search to your current selection. Now I really want to quickly jump over to this rigged skeleton guy here, and just show you how it would be useful in a rig situation to use this. Typically, everything is named properly, I would say, in a rig situation, or else you're going to have a nightmare looking through everything. So let's use the name feature and type in, say, arm, and search for that and solo that. Then we can work with our arm and our object here. So we get a mixture of the controllers and the bones and also the meshes, which is something you may want. But if you only want to search arm in the controller section, just go up to that top hierarchy, hit arm, solo, and then you're only searching in the bone section of those. Same thing with, say, you want to search for the leg. You can find just the legs, work on those. Let's say you did just want to find the left leg, you can type in CL_leg and just get those objects. So you can see you can kind of use it however you'd like to and just kind of avoid coming over to the object manager as much as possible. Now I'm going to quick jump over to this kind of random object scene to illustrate the last few things here. One of the commands that you might not know just from opening this is you can search for missing texture tags. First we could search just for texture tags and get every texture tag selected, but if you type in missing texture tag, you'll get just the missing ones, and you can go ahead and either add a material to those, or you could just delete them. I think we, for the most part, went over the hide section, how you can hide and show all selected or unselected objects. You have these checkboxes, whether you want to hide or show the viewport and the render, whether you want just one traffic light or both traffic lights enabled. So this, like I said, this is directly linked to whatever is in the search box here. So if I typed cameras and hit hide, it's directly linked and it's going to hide all of the cameras, whether I had them selected or not. Now, nothing's selected, I can hit show and it will show the cameras. So what if I just want to use this to just show my current selection? Let's say I had a bunch of objects selected. If I hit hide, it's going to only hide and show the cameras. If you hold down Alt, you can hide your current selection. And if I hit show again, it will show while holding Alt. I'm holding Alt right now and hitting hide and show, and it's modifying my current selection. Now if I hold Control on top of that and hit show, it will make visible all of those objects. And the same would happen if I were to hit just Control show. I can force show all of the cameras. So Alt will modify your current selection, whatever it is. Control will activate the green traffic lights if you hit show. And Alt Control will activate the green traffic lights for your current selection. So just a way to really fine-tune what you're seeing, what you want to see and what you don't want to see. So I wanted to just quick jump back to the BMX scene to illustrate the last section we haven't talked about yet, which is the storage section, and it lets you easily store your selections into groups, and you can have as many of them as you like. So let's just illustrate that really fast here. Let's say we want to grab the frame of the bike. Got to go to the name search, grab the frame. We're going to put that in the first storage selection here, and you can add, like I said, as many objects as you want. So we can go to the wheels as well, and let's just add that as well. And you'll see the tags get dropped onto the object based on the color that's in the plugin window here. And if you're ever confused as to what number it is on the tag, it will always say. So let's say we want to make a new selection and we want those splines that we selected earlier. So let's select, we gotta go back to type, select splines. Let's add those to group 2. So you'll see it added all those tags to the splines. If I solo those, you'll see. And let's make a third selection. Let's just go to the bars. I'm gonna switch to name mode here. Solo. Let's add the bars to group 3, and let's also add the seat to group 3. So now if we were off searching other things, we can easily come back to those selections. Let's load up selection 1 here, which was our wheels and our frame. Yep. And you can load up selection 2. Solo that. That was our splines. And then selection 3 was our bars and frame. Hit load. So it's just an easy way to get back rather than having to go back through and do all those searches again. And if you want to load all the groups, you can go down to number 0 here and hit load. And that will load everything in all selections. And also it will, if you go to 0 and hit remove, it will remove all selections. Let's undo that really quick. Let's say you're off on group number 11 here and you're looking at over here in your tags and you're like, I don't remember what number this one is. Well, you can click on it, but another way to load that back up really fast is just select one of the tags and hit Control or Alt load, and it will load all of those objects back up, and it'll set the color and the number in your storage section. So let's load the green group back up. Select your tag, hit Control or Alt load, and it'll load it back up. And same with remove. Say I want to remove all the green tags, or actually let's just say I want to remove all the pink tags. Select one, hit Control or Alt remove, and that group is gone. And then the last little button here is the selection object. So you can, it's just another way, it's kind of a different way to keep your group selections. So you can make any selection you want and just hit selection object, and at the top it'll make you a new selection object with all of those objects in it. And if you want to reselect those objects, all you gotta do is double click on the selection object and all of those objects will be reselected. So there's two different ways to store things and just keep your groups easy to select so you don't have to keep coming back and searching through everything. That covers all the features. One more thing I just want to mention here is that this does work with other plugins, third-party plugins like Xparticles, Octane, and V-Ray. So here we have a little Xparticle scene, these lines coming in. Say you wanted to select every Xparticles object, you can just type in XP. That will grab all of your Xparticles objects, tags and everything. If you want to find just the emitter, whatever you type in for Xparticles, just make sure you type XP before it. XP emitter, found those, solo them if you want. You can type, some of these have cache tags, so XP cache tag. Type that wrong. XP cache tag, found those. And then I have a special search just for XP texture tags. If I can type right, texture tags. That will find just those Xparticle texture tags, the ones that are only related to Xparticles. So let's say we wanted to isolate those lines. We can do the Xparticles trail object. Hit solo. Those are the lines. Although you'll notice they're not moving because the emitter isn't soloed with it. So we could search for those, and then we can go Xparticle emitter and hit Shift search to add those to the search. And now they should be moving. You'll notice this little question mark box down here that will help you if you have any questions with the plugin. It has all the information on everything I've just talked about in it, and it will open up in your browser really fast and easy. And it will tell you all of those key commands that will modify your search selections. And it will also give you some tips at the bottom on searching and just different things. For example, your search is not case sensitive. You could be upper or lower case, it doesn't matter. And nothing needs to be pluralized. You don't need to put an S like effectors. You can just type effector. It'll tell you some of the object groupings you can search for when it goes over the enabled, disabled objects that you can search for. It tells you those special keywords. And then it gives you the full list of object groupings and what they will select. And then a few additional tips. I want to thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to email Jorn at thepixellab.net, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody.